Hi! I have now been in Korea for about 6.5 months, and it is time for me to do another Q&A. Thank you everyone for your questions that you asked me like a month and a half ago. Sorry! Finally going to answer them! First of all, I'm answering these questions based on my experience, trying not to answer general Korean culture questions as if I'm an expert, because obviously I'm not. My answers will be specific to my experience. Why does everyone throw out the peace sign? As far as I understand, Koreans don't see it as a peace sign. In fact, not too long ago, one of my students tried telling me that the rocker symbol means peace. When they pose in pictures with a peace sign, it's not really saying peace. It's just a cute pose. The peace sign is a pretty effortless pose. Honestly, I get kind of stressed out when pictures are taken of me and it's like just me and I don't know what to do with my hands. So you just... peace signs. When are you coming back? I figure once I master the art of chopsticks, then I'm free to leave Korea. In a nutshell, I don't know. I would love to stay in Korea another year if a good opportunity arises. What is the speed velocity of a swallow? I don't know, Diana, it depends. Are we talking about an African swallow or a European swallow? What's your favorite thing about teaching and what makes it rewarding? My favorite thing about teaching is actually teaching. I love engaging with students and I love when they actually get excited about things I'm teaching them. Teaching science especially is like my passion. Students get curious and they start asking me questions that sometimes I don't even know the answer to, so we have to discover the answer together. I love making plans for my students. So rewarding when they actually do enjoy it and they appreciate the effort that I put into teaching them. What is something you miss about the USA culturally? People covering their mouths when they cough or sneeze. Many of my students just they just sneeze and they just sneeze. They don't even they don't turn or anything, and they just sneeze or cough like on whatever is in front of them. Sometimes that thing being in front of them is my face. It's not just kids, it's adults too. Why? What is something people do in South Korea that you wish people did in America? I would love to bring eating family style back with me. In America, there are so many people who it's a pet peeve of theirs of sharing food. They hate it. I love that feeling of sharing and eating as if you're family, even with just friends or people you don't know that well. Can we please do that more? Okay, get ready, because when I come back, when we go to restaurants, we are sharing food. Like, can we just order some dishes and share everything? I mean, the portion sizes are so huge anyway. Let's just share. Do Koreans talk politics? Well, this one is difficult for me to talk about based on my personal experience since I am not Korean, nor do I speak Korean anywhere near fluently. I do have Korean friends who I've asked, and they say that yes, they do talk about politics. They actually say that Koreans are a lot less sensitive about discussing politics than Americans are. There's also a political survey downtown that's pretty interesting.
You can see the question scrolling along the top. Should the death penalty be approved? And then it will show it in Korean. And you can see a no, maybe, and yes lane. People just walk through them and it counts their votes. Some people don't really seem to care. They kind of just walk through the middle. But I see many people consciously pick a particular lane.
How long does it take you to get to church and how do you get there? It takes me about half an hour to get to church depending on how well public transportation is in my favor, but sometimes I get there just as the subway leaves and I have to wait another 15 minutes or so. What are the most fun, weirdest, frustrating, and comforting things about going to church in a different country and in a different language? Every Sunday as I walk up the steps to church, I still feel butterflies in my stomach and I still get nervous about what these Koreans think about me, and if I'm giving off a good impression or a bad impression, if they really like me or whatnot, blah 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 blah. But I've had issues with social anxiety in the past, and so the hard thing is that I can't like relax because I feel on edge a lot. But everyone is so sweet and kind and welcoming that always ends up being okay. The most fun thing is getting to know the young single adults. I love these people. For anyone who's watching that doesn't know, young single adults in the LDS Church just means people between the ages of 18 and 30. The frustrating thing about getting to know the young single adults is the fact that I can't get to know them as well as people who actually speak their language fluently. But just being able to go to church is the most comforting thing about going to church in a foreign country and in a different language. Even though I do get really nervous because the language and the customs aren't familiar, the gospel is what is familiar, and that is very comforting. What has been your favorite experience? My favorite experience? How do I even answer that question? The traffic there crazy? Do you wish you had a car? I do not like driving in the US, so no, I'm not sad. Traffic in the US is a lot better than traffic here, but regardless, I don't like driving. What I do love is the accessibility of public transportation here. In Korea, you truly do not need a car. Have you bought many clothes? Have I bought many clothes? Yes, I have. I have bought so many clothes. I don't know how else to answer that question. Like, I've bought so many clothes. In fact, the majority of the clothes I own right now are Korean clothes, and I love them. Have you joined a triad yet? I have not joined a triad. I did meet someone the other day who I believe is a member of a triad. Heard some talk about a triad called the